All right, it's time for another unpopular opinion. This one is about synastry aspects, and I'm talking about Mercury square Mercury. Now, this sounds like it would be a really difficult thing, like the way you think and the way another person think, like square each other. So there's all this like tension, and it's difficult to resolve, and it's just like repeatedly coming up as like something where you're just like not on the same page and like trying to do things in a really different way. It just so happens I'm in a relationship with somebody who has Mercury in Sagittarius in his first house, square my Mercury in Pisces in my first house. And you know what? It's just really not that bad at all. So there are definitely things that I've noticed. So there have been times where many times where he said something to me, and then later on he says something else, and I'm like, that contradicts what you said earlier. I thought you said this. And he's like, what? No, I would never say that. So then I'm sitting here like, did I misunderstand? Or am I misremembering? Or maybe he didn't understand what I said at the time, and he was responding to something else, and I thought he was responding to this other thing. Like, what is happening here? But you know what? It's like really not that stressful, because neither of us takes it all that seriously. Like, I know he wouldn't just like straight up lie to me. You know, I trust the guy. And he knows that I'm not just gonna like straight up lie to him. So we have these misunderstandings. They're like really just not that big a deal. I also find that both of us, like, our memories of things that happened, like, aren't always 100% there. Like sometimes something happens and one of us remembers it and not the other one, and that goes both ways. And again, it's like I could see how that could stress people out considerably, and they might like think that the other one's lying, and that could be really problematic, and that just has not been my experience. So what's up? Like, why is this like not really even that bad? I think there are a few factors involved. First of all, his Mercury is conjunct my moon and Uranus and midheaven and his sun. So we've got this little like, if you can call it a stellium in synastry. I don't think that's a thing. Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. Anyways, we've got this like conjunction of planets across the Scorpio, Sagittarius, across Scorpio and Sagittarius. And it's kind of interesting because my own Scorpio moon squares my Pisces Mercury. So it's like the way I think and the way I feel square each other, which is a different video in itself. But it's like he understands my feelings better than I do, because like he's got that Mercury conjunct my moon. So like, I'll say I'm feeling this and I don't understand why. And he's like, no, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So that's one reason why it's like just really not so bad. We also have like sun trine sun, and like some other really positive aspects, or I should say really easy aspects. I don't want to say that easy is necessarily positive or that challenging is necessarily negative, because I definitely don't believe that to be true. I think squares are the unsung hero of the zodiac. Ooh, I'm going to do a video about that too. This series is going to be so fun. Anyways, so the other thing is that my Mercury is in his 5th house in synastry overlays. So even though his mind like doesn't always really like completely get on board with or like make sense of the stuff that I'm saying, he fully enjoys it. There's like it's energizing, it's fun. There's this 5th house creative, enjoyable even romantic energy to like our interactions, because his Jupiter is also in my fifth house. So there's, so we both have fifth house overlays in synastry. And yeah, so you know what? Like a lot of people consider Mercury, square Mercury, to be one of the worst aspects in synastry. And my experience has been like, it's just really not that big a deal, but it's important to like flow with it and take it lightly. And you know, it's kind of interesting. Sometimes we're able to like easily figure out like how we had a miscommunication about something. Like for example, like he might say that somebody works, and then I think that person has a job. But then later on, when I say, I thought you said that person had a job, he says, no, I never said that. Like, what are you talking about? You said that he works. Well, yeah, he works. He does this thing, you know. Oh, okay, cool. And we're not always able to get to the bottom of it. And sometimes with both of us, like what we're saying is just like what we're feeling or thinking at the moment. And like part of us feels it or thinks it, and the other part, not so much, not really. You know, there are other parts that might think and feel completely opposite or different things on that matter. And it's like that movie Inside Out. If you've never seen it, it's a pretty good movie, and it is actually like super accurate for how the human psyche actually works unconsciously. We have like all these different parts of us with different roles, different personalities. Some of them are carrying some pretty heavy burdens. And you know, there's a control panel inside, you could say, and like different ones are at the control panel at different times. And sometimes, for example, somebody says something and then shakes their head at the same time, and it's because part of them disagrees with what they're saying, and it's not that they're lying. Part of them thinks that, and another part of them doesn't. So we both have this like mutable, because Sagittarius and Mercury, I'm sorry, Sagittarius and Pisces are both mutable. We both have this like mutable and like kind of like complicated, like neither Sagittarius or Pisces is like traditionally considered a super stellar placement for Mercury. So we both have kind of like challenged Mercury, and you know what? We understand each other very well. Not necessarily always through communication, but like we just get each other. And the misunderstandings are there and kind of frequent, but you know what? Like not a big deal. So I'm not saying that this aspect is never a big deal in anybody's chart. I'm saying that it is not always a big deal, and also that charts are super duper complicated because there are a lot of things in any given chart, and there are no aspects or placements that are just straight up good or straight up bad. There are ways to flow with them. They all have a higher and lower expression, and they all have some kind of benefit to it, to them. Even ones where it's like really hard to see what could possibly be good about this placement. Like there's one in particular, and I'm not going to say what it is. There's one in particular where I'm like, man, like what, like if somebody was, I saw a post in one of the Facebook groups that was like, somebody say something good about this placement. And I was like, I feel super called out right now, because I totally believe that there are good things about every placement, and or like beneficial or useful or whatever. There are positive things that can be said about any placement, and like I cannot think of one good thing to say about this particular placement. Yeah, you know, I've had some bad experiences, and I'm willing to admit my own bias because of them. In any case, basically what I'm saying is that there are no like things that are just like always bad, always good, fully bad, fully good. There are things that are always challenging. That doesn't make them bad though. And there are no, like, there's nothing in a synastry chart where you look at it and you're like, oh, this is a big deal, I'm gonna stay away from this one. Although I kind of feel that about, like, if somebody's moon is conjunct my Pluto. But again, bad experiences. I'm very open to changing my mind about that. But anyways, just because you have Mercury square Mercury or something like that in a synastry chart with somebody, it does not mean that they're not a good match for you. And I'm going to make a separate video about what a good match even means, and using astrology to make relationship decisions, because I don't think you should do it. I mean, you should do whatever you feel is right. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this one up. If you have experience with Mercury square Mercury, I would love to hear about it. Put it in the comments, please.